Why do cows wear bells? Because their horns don't work. Today, I'm going to recap a 2023 action sci-fi film called Paradise. In the not-so-distant future, a German biotech firm named Aeon provides a medical process that allows the transfer of time from one individual's lifespan to another, given they are a suitable match. As a result, individuals in financial distress can trade years of their life, accelerating their aging process. Conversely, the buyer regains youthful appearance, allowing the wealthy to essentially become ageless. Typically, the underprivileged, hoping to better their lives, opt for this, even though Aeon markets it as a voluntary donation. In this era, numerous migrants and asylum seekers rely on this method for survival. Aeon grants time to eminent scholars, artists, celebrities, and recently, Nobel laureates. Aeon's top donation recruiter is Max. Today, he's persuading a migrant's teenage son to trade 15 years of his life, using his own story of selling 5 years for college as a persuasive tactic. He also highlights the slim chances of the boy's family obtaining legal status, but the potential to start a business with the money. Max's tactics succeed. Back at the Aeon office, he dons a raincoat, shielding himself from protesting crowds opposing Aeon's divisive technology. Once inside, Max is honored at a ceremony and recognized as the top agent. The company's creator, Sophie Theissen, delivers an impassioned speech about their mission's significance. Elsewhere in an Aeon facility, a seemingly routine day takes a dark turn when a disguised man brandishes a firearm, causing multiple casualties. He tags the wall with an A before escaping. This attacker is from the Atom Group, a radical faction opposing Aeon's operations, resorting to violence for their cause. Subsequently, Sophie, flanked by her bodyguards Kaya and Nowak, views a threatening video from the Atom Group's head, Lilith, vowing further upheaval. Max heads home and meticulously arranges a celebratory dinner for his recent accolade, planning to share the joy with his wife, Alina. While they're still repaying their apartment's loan, they yearn to start a family, so they indulge in a passionate moment before their meal. The subsequent day, they decide to visit Alina's parents. Her father lightheartedly suggests acquiring additional years for himself, but his tone conveys a veiled criticism and contempt for Max's profession, deeming it morally questionable. Elena swiftly intervenes to prevent an impending disagreement. However, as they drive back, Max expresses his wish that Elena would take a firm stance in his support rather than maintaining a frustrating neutrality. Their return is marred by the shocking sight of their apartment engulfed in flames. The catastrophe doesn't end with the loss of their possessions. Their savings kept at home are also destroyed. Their dismay deepens when their insurance claim is denied, citing negligence on their part, attributing the fire's cause to an unextinguished candle. Elena vehemently denies any oversight, but the decision remains unaltered. Adding to the turmoil, Max discovers Elena had pledged 40 years of her life to secure a bank loan, a fact she had concealed. In desperation, Max proposes exchanging his years, but is rebuffed due to the absence of suitable recipients. This perplexes him given his previous donation, only to learn that the recipient had since passed away. As they exit the insurance office, the authorities apprehend Alina, fearing she might have absconded. A determined Max seeks Sophie's assistance, detailing his plight. While Sophie assures him of her intervention, she later convenes with Aeon's stakeholders. The shareholders express their displeasure at the inefficiencies of the DNA matching process, hinting that some might never get to augment their lifespan due to its rarity, labeling Sophie as overly partial. Days later, when Max receives word through his attorney that Sophie is evading them, desperation grips him. He rushes to the clinic to see Alina, only to be told he must wait for her procedure to conclude. Overwhelmed with anxiety, Max dashes through various rooms in search of his wife, but is eventually restrained by Kaya and her squad. As Alina is being prepped for the procedure, the weight of the situation bears down on her upon hearing the terms of the contract from the attorney. Overwhelmed, she resists the doctors, who subdue her with a sedative injection. Once sedated, she's hooked to a device, which transfers 38 years of her life to an unidentified individual in an adjacent room. When the procedure concludes, a visibly shaken Alina is escorted home by Max, remaining silent throughout. Over the subsequent days, Elena's appearance deteriorates rapidly, making her resemble an old woman. The sight of her aged self in the mirror is unbearable. This drastic change strains their relationship. While Max extends love and assurance, Elena grows distant and aloof. A surprise awaits Max one morning. He's informed of a promotion and a salary increment at Aeon. However, this feels meaningless now. Agitated, he attempts to confront Sophie, but Kaya intercedes. Sophie leaves, but not before Max observes her rejuvenated appearance. Back home, Max tries to reassure Elena of his unchanged love. Elena, interpreting it as sympathy, asks him to give her space. In her solitude, she experiences agonizing abdominal pains, and as she collapses in the bathroom, there's alarming blood loss. Concurrently, Max, seeking solace, takes a walk and stops for a beer at a park. A young girl approaches him, peddling illicit age-boosting drugs, which he vehemently refuses. Later, with Elena admitted to the hospital, a grim revelation emerges. Prior to the procedure she was expecting, the physical trauma she endured caused a miscarriage, as her aged body couldn't support a pregnancy. Overwhelmed by their altered lives, Elena decides to move in with her parents. A distraught Max swears to find a way to reverse the effects. However, Elena's father bitterly chides him, indicating that Max is part of the very system that precipitated this mess. Desperate for answers, Max recalls the young park vendor. Suspecting she might have links to unauthorized age transfer procedures, given that Aeon wouldn't perform such procedures on children, he confronts her for information. She discloses about a clandestine group operating age transfer surgeries in neighboring Lithuania. Max is instructed to secure a disposable phone and counterfeit documentation from a dubious locale, and is informed that he must locate the individual who received Elena's years. Subsequently, Max takes refuge in a hotel, formulating a scheme to abduct Sophie. He's convinced her youthful transformation and her indifference towards him are linked. Over the next several days, he discreetly tails Sophie, awaiting an opportune moment. One day, he spots her, unguarded and alone, in a graveyard. Concealing his identity, he approaches the youthful Sophie, who, in panic, starts screaming and fleeing. Max swiftly overtakes her, incapacitating her with a taser. To divert suspicion, he spray paints an A on a tombstone, insinuating the Atom Group's involvement. Later, Max rendezvous with Elena at her workplace, urging her to place faith in him. They head to a derelict facility where he's harbored a stolen van and a bound Sophie. Apprehensive, Elena voices her concerns, leading to a heated exchange. However, Max's plea about this being their sole shot at reclaiming their life and dream of a family sways her. Back at the graveyard, Kaya and Nowak are deep into their investigation. Utilizing CCTV footage, Nowak traces the vehicle's origins. Even though purchased under a pseudonym, he eventually links it back to Max's genuine account, marking him as a person of interest. Pondering involving the authorities, Kaya declines. Arriving at the dilapidated structure, they discover the pair has already fled. As Elena and Max navigate towards the dock, Kaya and Nowak mobilize a larger search operation, enlisting police assistance. A discussion unfolds wherein Nowak elucidates on how the couple's paths crossed. Max was Elena's designated donation agent, but their professional relationship blossomed into love. Nowak expresses sympathy for their plight, to which Kaya retorts, divulging that she's 64, undergoing age reversal not out of preference, but owing to her commitment to Sophie. Reaching the port, Max and Elena seamlessly board a ship. Yet, they're inadvertently recorded by security cameras, providing Nowak their whereabouts. Periodically, Max attends to Sophie, offering sustenance, as she's concealed within a container, masked as freight. That evening, witnessing a jubilant family, the couple envisions their future child. Their reverie is shattered by a child pointing out peculiar lights ashore, revealing the police awaiting them in Lithuania. Thinking on his feet, Max contemplates leveraging the family to gain an upper hand. As the police commence their search of all vehicles exiting the vessel, the van driven by Max is next, but it's the family's patriarch behind the wheel, coerced by Max. He masquerades as a delivery driver transporting a bathtub, yet the police grow wary due to his palpable anxiety. Their suspicion piqued, they demand a thorough inspection of the van, where both Sophie and Elena are concealed within the bathtub. The police urge him to unlock the cargo. With visible hesitance, they inquire about his edginess. Covertly guided by Max via a Bluetooth earpiece, the man discloses his trepidation stems from having a firearm aimed at him. Recognizing a potential misstep by a fellow officer, the lead officer swiftly clears the driver to sidestep a potential misconduct charge. Subsequently, the wife drives through the checkpoint with her infant and a concealed Max, who's keeping them under duress. Both cars rendezvous later. However, prior to releasing the family, Max incapacitates their communication devices and sabotages a car tire. Witnessing the infant's distress, Alina grapples with remorse. The duo continues their journey with Sophie restrained in the bathtub. Hours later, they halt, permitting Sophie to relieve herself. However, she divulges a revelation. She's not Sophie but Marie, Sophie's daughter. Their present resemblances stem from Sophie undergoing the age reversal process. Skeptical, Max consults online sources, which state Sophie's only child had passed away years prior and was the individual she mourned at the cemetery. Mary elaborates on her concealed existence, shielded from media scrutiny. While Max remains dubious, Elena contemplates the veracity of Marie's claim. Seeking shelter, they locate a deserted inn for the night. Mary continues asserting her identity, voicing her aversion to Sophie's controversial profession and empathizing with the couple's plight. Max remains incredulous, highlighting that irrespective of Marie's claims, her DNA should align with Sophie's, making her a suitable donor. Appalled by Max's intent to exploit a minor, Elena storms out. Marie pleads for a shower, which Max begrudgingly allows. As Marie narrates Sophie's origins of the age transfer technology, which initially aimed to aid her ailing sister, a momentarily distracted Max is ambushed by her, enabling her escape. Mary dashes into the dense forest, bereft of light and mobile signal from the pilfered phone. Mary discerns a looming light, indicating she's pursued, and hastens her escape. Misjudging a seemingly shallow puddle for a deep pit, she finds herself sinking. Desperate, her screams for aid pierce the silence. Fortunately, Elena, the source of the approaching light, pulls her to safety. They return to the hotel where Marie showers. As she disrobes, Elena spots an absence of procedure scars, corroborating Marie's identity claims. Elena shares this revelation with Max, who counters that the procedure could have regenerated Marie's skin, erasing any scars. He reminds Elena of their motive, securing a future with a child. A moment of emotional vulnerability ensues, leading to intimacy, their impassioned sounds permeating the space where a restrained Marie resides. Concurrently, Nowak, having pinpointed their location, alerts Kaya and they mobilize. The couple's slumber is abruptly shattered by armed men, the Adam group led by Lilith. They disarm Max and confirm Marie's true identity. They are then ushered to a dilapidated structure where unsettling truths unravel. Sophie orchestrated their plight, targeting Elena as her age donor. Max, Aeon's adept donation manager, unexpectedly fell in love with Elena, thwarting Sophie's plan. The apartment fire and the elimination of Max's matching recipient were calculated manipulations to coerce Elena's donation. As Max brands Lilith a killer, she thrusts a gun with a single bullet into Elena's hands, forcing a choice, and Marie or herself. Elena's resolve crumbles, she drops the weapon. Lilith mocks their moral impotence, exposing the hypocrisy of delegating the act of killing to professionals. Amidst this confrontation, Max's burner phone buzzes with the illicit clinic's coordinates, information with a 6-hour expiration. To reach the clandestine facility in time, they must collaborate with Lilith to eliminate Sophie. As Kaya and her team encircle the edifice, Max emerges, feigning ignorance of Adam's presence. He asserts that only Sophie can enter. Any breach would compel Elena to execute Marie. A rejuvenated Sophie agrees, but Kaya, suspicious of Max's foreknowledge of Sophie's proximity, deciphers the trap. In a swift motion, Nawak draws and shoots Sophie, incapacitating her. Kaya swiftly eliminates Nawak after he shoots Sophie, prompting an immediate onslaught from the Adam group barricaded inside the building. Max, in the midst of the chaotic gunfire, re-enters the hotel but is knocked down due to a nearby explosion. Navigating through opposing guards, he overpowers a rebel in close combat. Max then hustles Elena and Marie towards the garage for a swift getaway. Amidst their escape, Marie unveils a stolen gun, aiming at Elena, only to realize it's unloaded. Distraught by Marie's betrayal, Elena forcefully incapacitates her against the car. They speed away as Kaya, sifting through Noak's belongings, uncovers his alliance with the Atom Group. Hours into their escape, Max, repulsed at the prospect of morphing into Lilith's semblance, voices his reluctance to harm Marie. Elena, her patience threadbare, courses Max out of the car under threat of self-harm. Alone, Elena drives Marie to the clandestine clinic, subjecting her to an involuntary age reversal procedure. Meanwhile, Max, aimless and introspective, integrates into a refugee settlement following a random encounter with an immigrant bus. By morning, a disoriented Marie, now bearing the physical toll of the procedure, is discovered by a passing truck driver and returned to the city. A seemingly unscathed Sophie, shielded by a bulletproof vest during the earlier confrontation, reunites with her. Kaya, weary of the bloodshed tethered to corporate machinations, tenders her resignation. Mary's rapid aging unfolds, yet Sophie, ensnared in selfish motives, withholds her years, assuring a forthcoming donor. Months elapse before Max, now a member of the Atom Group, encounters a rejuvenated and expectant Alina, accompanied by her new spouse at a beach. The void between them is palpable. Elena's silence affirms their irrevocable estrangement. Max retreats to his insurgent life, fueled with unwavering resolve to dismantle Sophie's empire. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure. It would be best if you watched the whole movie. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this.